Now, Elaine, I think first and foremost, as we're talking about this conversation, in your eyes and in your experience, why is it so important for farmers and ranchers to maybe consider non-family members as a part of their transition plan strategy?
So one of the phrases that we use in our coaching practice, Shaye, is called "Where is it written?" And that comes from the book actually on emotional blackmail by Susan Forward. And the phrase "Where is it written?" I'll just practice with you. Where is it written that you, as a very skilled young rancher or farmer, cannot be in business with someone who is not family? And I really want people to sit with that. Who told you that you couldn't do this? Because why it's an important option, Shaye, is we do have family dynamics where there's a lot of unwritten expectations, there's a lot of assumptions, there's a lot of tension. And I'm working with a family right now, actually, in Saskatchewan, where I asked them very point blank in our discovery call last week, why are you still there? And so if someone is hearing my voice right now and hearing me say, why are you still there? And it kind of hits a nerve. That's just an opportunity point, because we say I'll start again. We say counseling is about recovery, but coaching is about discovery. So if you are in a farm or ranch situation right now with your family where you have no signed agreements, you've been there 11 years, they promised you all kinds of things when you came back from college or ranching for profit or wherever you've been off getting new learning to happen, and nothing has changed, and you tend to be in what we call this neutral zone, the pain of not knowing, then I want you just to stop and pause and say, what are my options? And you have options, Shaye. And I think that's the key point of our time together today, is for the voices and listeners listening to this today, that you know that if you're in a farm and ranch business arrangement that's not working, and the people that have all the power in terms of control of the assets, possibly the founders or the grandparents, and you have no power to get things written down and get agreements that help you build equity, then you have other options.
Wow, I think that question, where is it written? You bring that up every time we have a conversation, but it is so powerful for everyone to ask themselves in a lot of these situations.
And it's a way to challenge assumptions. So how do you move forward for that? So Lydia is a perfect example. She's my business partner. She's my successor at Farm Family Coach. And she's doing two things. So she's running a direct farm marketing business with her husband, but she's also in a non-related partnership with a Scottish immigrant farmer, and I'll call him, his first name is Ian. And Ian treats Lydia and her husband and son as if they were family. So isn't that an amazing thing? And I'm standing in front of you here speaking as an adoptive mom. So my son, I did not give birth to. We adopted him when he was 2 days old, and we had an open adoption with his birth mother. And he is at 37 now a father, a husband, and our successor on our farm. And so again, I just want to challenge, there's a lot of culture in agriculture that's not healthy right now, Shane. And one of them is protecting the bloodline. Unless you're family, you can't be in this business. Well, that's not true in 2025. And we see farming and ranching as a business. And some of your listeners see it as a lifestyle. And that's fair. But if that's the framework and the picture that they're telling themselves, then if you're on a ranch that's a lifestyle, good for you. But I suspect you're not profitable. And because you're not profitable, you're not opening up the opportunity for the next generation to get equity. But you're not being honest, are you? Because you're too humiliated to tell the next generation, there's not even enough money for me to live well in my 60s, 70s, 80s, let alone try and bring somebody else in. And these are the conversations, Shaye, that are keeping ag stuck, because you're not even having a conversation that's transparent and honest.
I am going to back up a little bit, because when I first asked the question about why is it important for farmers and ranchers to consider non-family transitions or plans to non-family members, you really focused a lot on the rising generation, that younger generation who might be stuck in a poor situation or could maybe go find another opportunity. But do you want to speak a little bit more to maybe that senior generation and, whether they don't have kids or if their kids aren't a fit.
Well, and again, we'll use Lydia as example. Ian, their joint venture partner, does have a daughter, but she has no interest in the farm. And so there is no successor through the family. And I've also had situations, Shaye, where people have left and gone into a joint venture with bachelor farmers, farmers that don't have spouses, farmers that don't have any successors at all. So every situation is unique. But if you Googled non-related farm transition, there'd be some interesting articles. And the one that I remember very poignantly was a young man who lived in a small town in Saskatchewan, and across the gravel road was a dairy farm. So when he was 15, he started walking across the road to help out with the dairy. And wouldn't you know that that dairy family got to see his skill level, his commitment, and all the other good things he was bringing to the farm, and they became business partners. So you're right. It could be the founders, the couple, or a bachelor or a single person who doesn't have a successor. And one time I was speaking in Bigger, Saskatchewan, and I'm wearing an orange shirt today because it's Orange Shirt Day tomorrow for our Truth and Reconciliation Day, and I'm going on a walk with my grandkids later today. But I just, and this was before orange shirts were a thing, but this is maybe 15 years ago, and I said to the people in my audience, would everyone who doesn't have a successor please raise their hand? And Shaye, about 13 people raised their hand. And I said, well, would you all get a bright colored t-shirt next time so that when we come to these meetings, we can come and have conversations with you and know that you don't have a successor? And so that's also part of the folks listening to this who are leasing, say, pasture land or leasing some kind of cropland. Maybe you have a neighbor that you suspect is starting to want to step away without stepping totally back. Have you started sitting on the tailgate of their pickup with them and just saying, I'm just curious, Charlie, what are your plans for the future? Because I really like working with you, and I'm curious if we could make this a more formalized agreement. And just start planting the seeds now. And another way to do that would be to write a letter with what your business plan would be and what you would like to do.